Ripple just tipped its hand, and almost no one caught it. See, the XRP ledger, it's not as much discussed anymore. It's really positioned for real infrastructure, real settlements, real value flows. And a Ripple executive just said the quiet part out loud, the part that you're not supposed to hear, not this early at least. But there's a twist. XRP's fundamentals, they've never looked stronger, never. And the sentiment, well, it's almost never been worse. Retail is just panicking. Fear is collapsing to levels that we haven't seen in a long time. But in the past, every time we've seen it hit this level of fear, it wasn't a top. It wasn't time for capitulation. It was ignition. Meanwhile, in the shadows, the smartest money on this planet, what are they doing? They are making their way to XRP. XRP's ETF demand is accelerating. Institutional flows, they're not flinching. Global adoption is speeding up, even as a U.S. regulator drags their feet. And one Ripple product is quietly setting XRP apart from other top 10 chains. And if that wasn't enough, AI money, it's really picking up the pace like nothing we've seen. Not the Manhattan Project, not dotcom, not even the Apollo mission. And that spend, that fuel, is going to be rocket fuel for tech and AI. We're going to get into it. There's quite a bit to cover here. XRP is entering its institutional breakout phase, says Franklin Templeton. Wall Street, it's waking up, and in a big way. Franklin Templeton says early demand for the newly launched XRP ETF, it's stronger than expected, with both institutional and retail investors piling in. And part of the bigger shift where professional managers now look beyond just Bitcoin and Ethereum, because that was it for a long time. That's all they cared about. Not any longer. They want exposure to the broader market, and XRP is that entry point. But the real catalyst, what they're saying is RLUSD. That's interesting. To me, that's the most misunderstood part of the XRP ledger. A lot of people think it's competitive with XRP. It's not. It is going to fuel XRP. The fund manager here, XRP's biggest advantage is it's the only major chain with its own native stablecoin, giving it a structural edge as Web3 transactions move towards automated high-volume flows. Fast, cheap, scalable, stablecoin ready. That's the compelling business case here, and Ripple's global footprint is expanding fast, especially across Asia. And even as the U.S. has dragged its feet, it's now starting to pick up. And we're starting to see a lot of action here in the U.S. ETF demand is climbing, international adoption accelerating, and a native stablecoin powering new use cases. What can you do with the ledger? What real-world problems can you solve? That's what matters. That's what builds value here. Franklin Templeton says we're witnessing the early stages, not end stages, not the top, early stages of XRP gaining true institutional legitimacy. The breakout phase is getting ready to begin here. All right, we see this here. I saw this picture. This was the first date with my wife. It was January 9th, 2018. I said, what was the price of XRP on that day? $2.52. We've come a long ways, and we're kind of back to where we started, isn't it? But again, I think we're getting ready to break out and go on to bigger and better things. Isn't that wild? January 9th, 2018, price of XRP was $2.52. That sure seems like a long time ago. All right, Ripple execs drop major signal about XRP's future. Ripple's Reese Merrick says, XRP is not a ledger. It's financial infrastructure built for high-volume settlement, tokenized assets, and real-world value flows. And this is the deal here. It's not because those are the hot-button topics. It's not like, okay, the world wants RWAs. Let's build that now. Like, let's jump on the hottest thing. From day one, that's what this ledger's been built for. Listen to those Chris Larson original interviews. That's what he was saying. We didn't use the term RWAs, but that's what he was describing. That guy really can see the future here. He says, while other chains hype narratives, XRP Ledger is quietly becoming the backbone for tokenized treasuries, one of the hottest things in crypto right now. Institutional settlement, scaled payments. Payments are back in vogue for crypto. They were kind of dead there for a while. Now everyone's jumping into payments. EVM sidechain is expanding DeFi capability. RLUSD powering enterprise-grade liquidity. That's the thing. We're piping right into traditional finance, making it very easy to get money onto and off of the blockchain. That's one of the biggest things. The easier you make value flow onto and off of the blockchain, the more usable, the more valuable the cryptocurrency will be. And that's what RLUSD does. And eventually it's going to pipeline right into the Federal Reserve itself. Just a matter of time. Millions of active wallets, growing RWA pipelines, infrastructure upcoming and accelerating. XRP Ledger. It's not chasing the future. It is positioned to run it. We're seeing a lot go on right now. XRP sentiment has collapsed. I made reference to this in the opening, but it might be bullish. Sentiment says XRP just entered the deep fear zone, hitting the lowest levels since October. Historically, well, that's when the prices actually start to take off. That's when you find your bottom, when everyone's selling, everyone's panicking. That's the ticket here. Last time we saw it this bad, November 21, XRP ripped off 22% in 3 days. Right now, the price dipped under $2.10, the worst performer of all top 10 coins right now. Down 42% from July all-time high. Traders are calling it a capitulation zone around $2, but analysts, they're not seeing that. They're not seeing the bearish sentiment here. What they care about is the metrics. Arctic Digital says fear is setting in to create the bottom. LVRG Research notes 750 million in institutional inflows. It's even more now. Into spot XRP ETFs this month, even as flows cool for the week. So your big money, they see the big picture and they're positioning, they're acquiring XRP. 5 ETFs now hold 881 million in net assets and have stayed positive every single day since launch. The crowd's terrified. Data says opportunity. History doesn't always repeat, but for XRP, well, sometimes it does. It's looking like the perfect setup here. Steady lads. Isn't that one of the most famous sayings of all time? Do Kwon looking at 12 years. U.S. prosecutors just asked the judge to give Do Kwon 12 years in a federal prison, and the filing is brutal, man. This is the thing. I kind of feel for Do Kwon because unlike, SBF and Mashinsky, I think he thought it could work. Now, there's no I'm sorry's when you cause the damage he does, and we know he did some stuff in the background that wasn't right. But I think he really was trying to build an algorithmic stablecoin. He was a little Ponzi-ish about it, though, is the problem. But, man, when I see Mashinsky and SBF get these long terms, I kind of like, okay, yeah, 100% double their terms. Do Kwon, I kind of do feel bad for. And the problem is, it's not just 12 years he's facing. Once he's done there, he's got to go back to South Korea, and he's facing another 40 years in a South Korean prison, man. And so his attorneys are saying, please drop it to 5 because we got to deal with South Korea after this. We'll see how it plays out. Again, he needs to go to jail. He caused a ton of ridiculous damage. But beyond that, again, I don't want to see him get quite... Low battery. Okay, we got a low battery. I don't want to see him go away for life. 10, 15 years for the damage he did, I think will be sufficient here. All right, Strategy just pulled the wildest play in Bitcoin down cycle here. And think about how convoluted and stupid this gets. Strategy diluted its own shareholders to calm its shareholders. Does that make any sense? And they go, we didn't sell any Bitcoin. Oh, yes, you did. You sold your shareholders Bitcoin per share. This is nonsense. It's just as bad as if you just sold the Bitcoin. They're saying the CEO, we raised capital, put USD on the balance sheet to get rid of FUD. To me, it just confirms the FUD here. And, businesses, companies, they have downturns. I'm not kicking them while they're down, and I'm sure they'll rebound the cycle. It's the general setup here. Just borrow money to infinity, to me, isn't a real business. It's no type of strategy here. That's really getting irritating. I don't know what that is. AI, I brought this up in the opening as well. Faster than dotcom, crypto, Manhattan Project, and Apollo combined. And I was worried, is this going to slow down or not? We just had Micron tell everyone, we're getting out of the consumer business. Hard drives, RAM, if you need them, you best already got them. Because like Micron, they're not even dealing with that, right? They are just going to sell just to AI companies. And the spend, I think, is going to pick up even more. This is wild, but it's good because it's going to fuel everything in tech, this general economy, and also, of course, crypto. So it looks like this is going to keep up at a fast pace. Let me know what you think down below. As always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here at Jungle Link.